What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode here on the Pull Focus Podcast. I am Quentin, and today's guest is an amazing photographer that not only shoots photography, but she teaches as well. So without further ado, is Maddie from Madison Wren Photography.
Yeah, thanks for having me today. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's a little toasty in here, guys, so just forgive us. It's in the middle of summer, and I believe the AC just stopped working like literally like a couple hours ago. So we're just going to try to power through this and still give you guys the content that you deserve. But Maddie, if you just want to kind of introduce yourself and just let us know like maybe what you shoot with, what got you into photography and things like that, we can just dive right into it.
So, I mean, I can't really remember a time where I didn't have a camera in my hand. I remember being in like late elementary school, and I went on a field trip, and I had, a little crappy digital camera way back in the day, and I lost it on the field trip, and I was devastated, and I was in like, I think 3rd or 4th grade. So I've just always been drawn to pictures and capturing memories. And then I started with a Nikon Coolpix. And then in middle school, my grandpa gave me my first DSLR when I was in 7th grade. Good old Canon Rebel.
He gave you that in 7th grade?
Yeah, he did. I know.
That's really.
He knew I had big
lucky.
dreams.
Yeah.
And he actually signed me up for photography classes along with it. So I started in middle school taking classes, and then I had no clue.
Right.
There was this whole big world out there, so I was taking a lot of landscape classes and things like that. And then I actually eventually ended up in high school taking pictures for friends, senior pictures, prom pictures, that kind of stuff. And I shot my first wedding in 2016 when I was in college, and I ended up getting my BFA from WVU in photography. And I was kind of...
So you definitely know your stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, kind of.
That's good.
I hope so. I should. I was actually, while I was in college, I was the photographer for the WVU College of Creative Arts and a student ambassador. And I started doing weddings and portraits on the side as well. So I've been around. I've done a lot of different types of photography, and my degree was very fine arts photography based, not commercial. So I kind of look at things from a different perspective than somebody who maybe just jumped right into the commercial side of things. But it's really awesome. I've been around, done a lot of different stuff. It helps me think about things differently, and cool.
I think honestly, with you just saying that and then seeing your work and stuff, it makes perfect sense now, because in my opinion, you have like this really like a fine-tuned like editorial with like even like your Instagram page is like aesthetically like fine art, like pleasing.
Thanks,
and stuff.
I'm way too like over the top OCD about that.
Yeah, but it's like I feel like when another photographer sees it, they notice those little details. And I think when you work with like any type of client and stuff too, the ones that are looking for that, they
I'd like to think it makes a difference to the right person. I mean, if it's the wrong person, they're not going to care, and that's
then you're in the conversation. It's like you're just a box to check at that point. You're not even an artist that they want to work with. I mean, in the last month, there has been all types of news. I feel like photographers has been like kind of
it's a hot topic
and stuff. And I think where I'm going with this is the sepia photographer and stuff. And I've been asked like 2 or 3 times from people that's been on the podcast and the people that's been in our group as well. And I'm just like, I don't know, because I probably honestly do know like photographers that do just slap a preset on and call it a day.
Yeah.
But I'm watching her. I'm watching the brides. I don't understand what happened. Now, I also, maybe think it's just like the time happens and the day didn't flow, and then you just want somebody to blame it. And then pictures is a reminder of how the day didn't go as you wanted it to be. So then you think it's the pictures. Because I've dealt with people that's
Yeah,
like that.
for sure.
And then I'm looking at it, and I've went back to the group, or I've went back to other photographers and asked. I was like, "Am I crazy on this? I've delivered this or in this," and they're like, "No, that looks just fine."
Sometimes people just need someone to blame, and you're the closest target.
And I think she recognized it, and she like her response, I think, was spot on. I think the community that understands her response, like, she's gonna get tenfold of booking because of it.
Yeah.
You know,
I didn't see like all of the back and forth. I saw just enough.
It was TikTok.
I didn't want to get
so
too much into it. I was like, it's just craziness. To me, it looked like the bride just had unrealistic expectations, probably, and I think she expected that like nice golden, like sunny look, and then it seemed like maybe her day wasn't very sunny.
But the photos were like, awesome.
I mean, they looked like, from what I've seen, they looked consistent. So I think she just needed something to be mad about. She got her 15 minutes of TikTok fame, and
a couple million views and stuff.
And I don't know if the photographer ended up reimbursing her or what happened there.
Know. Like I said, I've seen other podcasts. I've seen other bigger creators and stuff talk about it as well. And it's interesting because her style, you know, I kind of feel like it fits under yours and Heather's and even Jolene's and like all these. I mean, so in my mindset, I'm just like, oh my gosh, that could literally happen to us, even though I know all three of you. Is just that. No, it's just like, I know you guys.
Oh, yeah. And Heather even had a situation like that.
It's.
I mean, it can happen to anybody, unfortunately, and I think all of us as photographers probably will experience something like that at some point. Yeah. Just hopefully not on such a public scale, because that's just. To me, that's so ridiculous. If you're not happy, like, handle it with the photographer. But why are you blasting them?
I think it's just This is like what you said earlier. It's just she's trying to get her 15 minutes of fame and go from there. Sure. I also think, like, we always forget too about the fact that being in West Virginia, how lucky we are to deal with some nice people. Yeah. And when we get like somebody that isn't nice, we're like, oh my gosh, this is in the world. But it's like there's
it happens a lot more other places. For sure.
And that's what I keep telling myself. And I think too is like me being a guy. It's just I feel like I see things different in the industry. Right. Even though, like, I would just be like, I would have my own internal anxiety about it, but I wouldn't even know if I would ever, like, go on and start talking about the situation to, like, that I would just be like, no, I'm over, I'm moving on.
I just don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Like, I had luckily she wasn't my bride. I was second shooting with a really good friend of mine last year. And I mean, sweetest couple when she did their engagement pictures and stuff. And I mean, the bride completely lost her mind on the wedding day, and like she was a total bridezilla and like nitpicking everything that we did, and then totally lost her mind on the photographer a few days after the wedding for posting sneak peeks. And I mean, it was just a disaster. I mean, that was here in West Virginia. It's I think most of the time you kind of get a vibe from people, but I don't know, some people just sneak up on you and are just nasty. Yeah.
Well, and I saw a point too, like one of the guys made and stuff too, is that they see themselves like in a you know, we're in the most documented time in our history now. So like everyone's taking photos, everyone's going viral, everyone's doing this and this. Well, the truth of it is like, you know, everybody's going to look different and photograph different, and then they expect them to look exactly the same in every single situation. And I'm just like, I'm sorry, old boy's not going to look like, you know, David Beckham on a beach. Like, he's going to look like the same guy, just a little bit different, you know, collar and stuff like that. And it's hard to explain that without coming off a certain type of way and stuff. So I think that's like one of the major like challenges of just working with so many couples at so many times and staying on brand and stuff too. But I think like with your editorial style is kind of nice because you're telling a different type of story, which is like details or hands or even like you just switch it to black and white, you're still telling a different story, you know? So there is people that I will say try to do that and they don't do it, you know? So, like, I think it's
Yeah.
like, if that is something that you're good at,
Mm-hmm.
like, you've already got, like, half the story being
Right.
told correctly
Yeah.
and stuff.
Well,
So,
and I mean, for me, it's not, I don't feel like you can go too extreme, either super editorial or super documentary. For me, you have to combine them both in order to really get somebody's day the way it feels and the way they want it
Yeah.
to look. I mean, I think the documentary candid moments are so important. And I mean, you cannot capture a wedding day without getting the candid moments and taking a step back and not thinking about yourself and what you want the pictures to
Yeah.
look like, but capturing what's actually happening. But at the same time, I mean, we all, not all of us, but I think most of us dream about our wedding day and what it's going to look like and the pictures we're going to hang on the wall and pass down to our children. So I think taking the time to stop and get some of those nice editorial posed, like intentional photos are really important as well. And I mean, for some people, going fully documentary works for them, and that's totally fine. But for me, I like to get a good mixture. So we get the grandma pose that everybody wants to give to their grandma and their parents to hang on the wall. And then like the sweet, intimate moments.
I'm
sorry.
just going to squeeze that. I'm afraid it's not getting picked up.
Sorry,
And you're making
I know,
some
I'm
really
very
good
quiet.
points. And so,
Yeah, so I think it's important to have a good mixture of the two.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's the only way, in my opinion, to really like fully capture a day and get kind of the best of both worlds.
yeah. Is there anyone that you draw inspiration from from
Oh yeah.
like that?
Oh my
Because
gosh,
I mean,
so many people. I really love looking at some of the. So I shoot film. That's actually, I did a lot, mostly film in college. So I love to look at a lot of the celebrity photographers
Yeah.
that have kind of brought film back. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's editorial the way they're shooting, but also candid and documentary. Like Jose Villa is
Yeah.
amazing. And when you look at his work, like it just, even the moments he posts that are posed, they don't feel stiff and rigid.
Yeah.
Like they're beautiful and artistic, but like natural feeling. And that's what I strive for. Like just because I'm gonna pose you doesn't mean I want you to like stand stiffly and smile at like be chill, be calm. Like that's what my biggest thing is. I want to be a calming presence on the wedding day and make you feel comfortable.
Yeah, I go in with a lot of. I try, like when I first started, I used to be like super anxious. I would sit in my car for like 20 minutes and then like just like go over my head. And now just like I hop out, I go straight into it. I'm like, okay, all right, let's go, let's get it. I feel like I've seen a little bit of everything when it comes to people anyway. Like stuff still surprises me, but at the same time, I go in, I'm just like, okay, like I know how to do this, I know how to shoot. And most of the places I'm shooting at, they have been a little bit different, but like around here in West Virginia, there's a lot of orange tones and like the buildings and stuff. So I feel like once you got like a good handle of like when you're at it, you're like, okay, like I can go in here and shoot just about anything.
I mean, once you get practiced at it, I mean, I feel like at this point I could walk into just about any lighting situation and make it work. It might not be ideal. It might not be the most beautiful picture I've ever taken in the world.
Make it work, though.
But we're going to make it work, and we're going to get the shot, and we're going to capture it.
That's a good point, because I think that's another thing. Whenever I first started, I would, if it didn't have the perfect light, I felt like it was a failure. And I'm just like...
Well, and I think that's what a lot of newer photographers, especially in the wedding industry, they want to post everything. They're so excited. They're like, well, I have to show off the whole wedding day and post it all. But I really think, like, if you want to get your dream clients, you need to look at your portfolio and choose the best of the best. And that's what you need to be posting. If it's not serving the people you want to book, don't post it. Because what you post is what you're going to attract.
I try to like tell everyone too when I meet them and stuff. It's like you really need to understand like recycle and reuse content. Because I didn't understand it as much until I started using it in the real world of like, I used to work for West Virginia Tourism, and we was reposting content from like shoots from like 3 years ago, and I was just like, why? But they made a good point of saying it's like, okay, well, the people that you're seeing it today is not the people that saw it when you originally posted it.
Yeah, exactly.
You can put it in a different form. You can edit it different ways, but and stuff. So that kind of like clicked in for me. So like in the wintertime, for instance, I do like posts about just the details, or I just put like, you know, just maybe just the moms, or maybe just like all these different things. But it's like, okay, well, I know people have seen it, but now you're seeing it in a different perspective.
Yeah.
And people's like, oh, but it's just still content being visible.
I do that too. Like if I want to post sneak peeks from a wedding, I'll post like the 10 sneak peeks on Instagram, but that doesn't mean I'm not gonna post some of those pictures again later. If they're the best from the day, then you bet your butt I'm gonna pull one of them and make it the cover photo on another post, because that's, I mean, not everybody is swiping through and looking at all of those pictures.
No.
So,
and I know for me, when I went full time a few months ago, what I'm looking at now is like when I do a shoot, wedding, or even just this podcast, how much content can I get from it other than just the main thing? We know, for instance, like this podcast itself is going to be like an episode. It's going to be an audio episode, but I always try to get like 3, you know, YouTube shorts, 3 clips, 3 TikToks that can be used as reels, anything like that. That way I'm kind of like posting, getting it excited for it, and so forth. And then like I did a shoot earlier this week. It was with a 1967 Chevy Camaro, and it was with Brooke Lynn's Photography, which is down in Proctorville.
Right.
Really awesome. I got a YouTube video. I got 8 YouTube shorts, 8 TikToks, 5 Instagram reels, 2 galleries I'm going to post. And I've only posted 1 photo so far of it, and that was on my story. Yeah. So it's just like...
So it's nice to have a backlog of things built up. That's what, like, I really try to focus on that in the summer. Yeah.
It's all scheduled, and, like, my whole thing on YouTube is completely scheduled. The video comes out today, and then it's just going to have those YouTube shorts going, and then I don't have to worry about it. Yeah. Same thing with I did a shoot with Stacy. Same thing. I did some behind-the-scenes stuff. Yeah. I think we was there for like an hour, and I got like probably 4 to 5 days worth of content. Right. But thing is, it just adds up, you know. And I think that's one thing for like beginner photographers, if they recognize the fact that, okay, like it's not so much of like I shot all this, I have to show the whole world. And move on. So it's like, no, just show a little bit. Keep people, a little bit. Like keep the good stuff in your back pocket and keep using it, and post other stuff in between, but. I mean, especially if you look at what you're posting and something is performing really well, reuse it. That means people like it. And the more people you can reach, the better you're going to do. So. That's a great point, because I posted a TikTok last week. It was a basic TikTok, but I thought it would have never been what I would have actually edited, and it's my most viewed one. Organically most viewed. And I'm just like, why? And I'm just like, son of a gun, I have to do more of that wedding now because people like those people. And I thought it was just maybe just that one. Well, I posted on Instagram, and Instagram had a high engagement rate on it too. And I'm just like, okay, well, what's going on? Now, he was in the military, so I don't know if that is, since that's kind of like a hot topic for July and everything, with July 4th, I was like, maybe that's a reason and stuff, but I was like... I
mean, if it's performing well, run with it. I mean, it's so funny. The reels that I post that I put a bunch of work into, I get like 5,000 views. And then I post one of me like sitting on my couch in the middle of the night, jokingly throwing shade at somebody, and that's the one that gets 30,000 views. I'm like... Okay, this was supposed to be a joke. Like that's not the one I expected to take off, but
Josie talked about
that's what I need to do.
I don't know if you follow Josie on Instagram, but like her Instagram reels.
Josie actually did my daughter's newborn pictures.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Her Instagram reels are hilarious. Like she's always doing something, and
she's hilarious.
She made that same point about the fact like it'd be like something like that, and I'm thinking to myself, I was like, man, I don't know where I'm gonna like start. Like I want to, but I don't know.
Reels are something that I like dove into like really intensely studying last year, but then I like burnt myself out on it really fast and just needed to like step back this summer. But I think I'll kind of dive back in a little more as we get into fall. But I mean, there's so much that can go into it that you don't think about because you just, you know, if you're just the viewer, you see somebody posting a funny video and you're like, it's funny, but why does that have 1 million views?
Yeah.
But the person who posted it probably knows, like, I hit on these points, like, on the screen,
Yeah.
and then I directed to the caption, and then I had a call to action. Like,
Yeah.
there's so much more that goes
Yeah.
into it. And I mean, some of it, occasionally you get just dumb luck. But
Just, yeah. We talk about that a lot on this podcast. It's just like going viral and just having your content being seen. We've had a couple people in here that's had multiple clips that has went over 1 million views,
Right.
and each one of them says like those are always like dumb luck.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm just like, so like I just feel like, which I maybe is a good thing, that the algorithm is something that we can't tap into, or as soon as we think that we know it,
Yeah,
it
changes. Yeah, always changing.
So maybe that's a good thing, because
Yeah.
people would, obviously take advantage of
Yeah.
it. But at the same time, I think as a creative, you constantly feel like you are not performing the content that you need to for it to be seen. So that you're, I don't know if they're not doing it. Maybe they are doing it on purpose. I don't know who's doing it, but
Yeah.
I feel like it's just like it's targeted more to creatives, and going through that spiral of not letting them actually be seen.
Yeah.
But that's the thing too, is like on the most viral clips that you see, like I'll be going through TikTok and it'll be like some of the stupidest stuff ever, and it has like 2-3 million views.
Yeah.
Almost like I'll talk to my wife. I'm like, this is outrageous.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
And then you realize you're watching it 20 times trying to figure it out, and there's like, well, maybe
okay,
maybe
I
they
guess
did
that's why. There's something to it. Yeah.
So, but yeah, there's been, I think right now I'm putting all my eggs into the YouTube's basket pretty much, because I love their analytics, because since they're like a sister program with Google,
Right.
their analytics is just like, you can dive into it all the way down to see who like lives in the zip code is watching your stuff, and it's just like, I mean, I always sit there and look at my analytics for like days, and I think when I was working at tourism, I was doing a lot of data for them, and when you see data on a statewide level,
Right.
you kind of see like where the cause and effect, and I think that's the reason why it's got me like kind of like hyper focused on it, my own stuff, and I'm just like, okay, well, I know this is reason, blah, blah, blah.
And I mean, once you know, you can replicate it. So I think that's really important. I mean, instead of just posting and crossing your fingers, taking what's working and trying to replicate it.
One thing that always works, though, regardless of the platform, of the algorithm, is just overall just being consistent.
Yeah.
Just posting.
Which is what I'm terrible
Yeah.
at, because I burn myself out.
Yeah.
So I really do. I get so caught up about, like, on my Instagram feed. I will go a month without posting, even though I have 100 pictures sitting here and I'm ready to post them and they're beautiful and I want to put them up, but then I'm like, this picture doesn't look good next to this picture, and I don't want to post like 2 first dance pictures. Like, just shut up and post.
Was you in part of that? Because there was a time a couple years ago where everybody was posting 3
Yes,
photos.
like the rows.
Yeah, the rows.
Yeah.
I was in that for like 6 months until I realized.
Yeah, that was, I think, like when I was in high school, that was really big. Yeah.
Everybody was. And then I think Instagram, honestly, they changed that by adding where you can make multiple photos. When they first started,
Yeah.
I bet there's some people that's watching this be like, what the hell? Like, Instagram. Yeah, Instagram used to.
Yeah, y'all are old.
The logo used to be tan. I'm going to put that out there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it was like a Polaroid camera. It looked like it.
YouTube used to be a TV. A TV set, not a flat screen. So. That's like back when you
aging ourselves over here. Ugh.
But with all that and stuff, like right now, like everyone's going to Threads. Like I see a lot of photographers now starting to post to Threads, and
I haven't really dove into that much. I made one, but
I've probably posted and interacted more in this last 2 weeks than I have since it's been created. Yeah. So, but I'm seeing it. I'm just like, okay, I'm not going to get behind. I want to like whatever's new, I'm in there. Because I don't know. I have this something like in the back of my head thinking that I don't know, like I feel like when you was growing up and you try a different sport or play something like that, you're like, oh, is this a sport that's gonna make me a pro,
right.
or something like that? Like
Yeah.
I feel like that on the social media platform, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, is this the platform that's gonna make
Right.
me
I
like
don't get that. I don't know. I
validated?
like my old like tried and true. You know, I've been using Instagram since it came out. What,
Yeah.
2010?
Yeah, ish.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Give
something
or
like
take
that.
a little.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I've been using it for like 14 years, and I still don't know what the hell I'm doing half the time because it's changed so much. But I'm like, I just want to nail this one down instead of trying all of these. I mean, I've done a little here and there, but I feel like I just want to focus on like one social media platform, hitting it really hard, and then be working on my website and my email list and things that I can own. But I think, I mean, I've seen a lot of photographers now that get a lot of bookings from TikTok. Which I guess that's not going to be happening anymore before too long.
I don't
supposedly,
know.
But,
to be honest, I don't know. Like they
yeah.
said they will take it away.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I will also say too, like, what was it, like 3 to 4 years ago? They was trying to pass the bill with like net neutrality, where you actually had to pay for internet access on top of internet access. I mean, we thought that week was going to be the because I was working at a university, and I was like, we was literally talking about like how we was going to recruit kids.
Right.
And
Oh yeah.
I was just like,
it was like everybody was in an uproar for what, like a week. And then,
but that's our like our society now is that like 24 hours to 48 hours we are in the worst period of our lives, and then it has already been forgotten. Like our attention span.
There's something else. I mean, we move on so fast now. So I mean, I do think there's, because of that, validity in learning the newer social media platforms. But I don't know. I just feel like I have so many eggs in so many different baskets already just in life that for me, it's almost not worth it until I see that it's like gonna stick around. So if we get to the point where in a year or two, Threads is still going strong and successful, then I might be like, okay, time to really like start getting into this and putting some time into it. But right now, I know I see the most success from Facebook and Instagram. They've been around the longest. They've stayed true to it. I mean, they're still massively used. So for me, that's where it just makes the most sense for me to devote my energy to. But I think for people who are good at learning new things and who enjoy it and who have the time to dedicate to doing it, I think it's important.
I try to, like, whenever I had this whole vision, and this kind of go into like a good segue for the next question topic and stuff too, is when I went full time, I've been wanting to do this type of podcast and this type of conversation for like over 2 years now. It's been something and that's when I created my Discord, to be honest. So I was like, okay, I want to find a community. COVID was pretty much over, and I was like, okay, people's going out, and I was like, I want to do it. I had some people in college at the time, but they don't even do anything now, and it's just like, I didn't feel like I took advantage of my time whenever I was in college. So it was just like I was trying to like find more creatives and stuff, and so I created a Discord trying to find new people, and then I was like, I want to start this podcast where I can like sit down and actually have conversations and let them know that, hey, it's like, you shoot different, like everything. I'm not competition. I just want to learn. I want you to learn from me. I want us to help each other. I want you to call me like critique. I want you to do this. I want you to do that, because I want us to like grow as an artist and stuff. And in West Virginia, I feel like it's hard because we haven't ever had a solid positive impact like that. And it's just like
every attempt has faded away so quickly.
And people get busy. 100% understand that. But at the same time, I don't know, like, you don't want to get like burnt by people either. Because some people do it and they don't even realize that they did it, which is just being, I think, ignorant to the industry as a whole. But at the same time, it's just like, listen, if you know, if you're double booked, or if you know of a couple that wants to be booked, and you trust this photographer, then why wouldn't you just like, okay,
Oh, yeah.
hey, I have somebody, here's a referral, and then you just kind of move on. That's going to make you look so much more professional in that client size
Oh,
than
yeah. Oh, yeah.
just like, oh, I don't know anybody,
Oh,
good
sorry.
luck, you know.
Have
You
fun.
know, it's just
Oh,
me
yeah.
or the highway.
I do that all the
and stuff.
time. Like if I get people messaging me looking for a warmer, moodier style, I'm like, listen, I'm sorry, I'm not your person,
Yeah.
but there's this,
Yep.
and this person who are.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done that several times. In the last 2 months, I've gotten 2 bookings from Stacy.
Yeah.
I mean, one
Yeah.
she sent directly to me. I don't know if they were just looking for a different style or if she was booked. And then one that she had posted in our group chat, and she sent them several people, and they reached out to me, and I just did their engagement session.
Yeah.
So I think,
I know Grace
I mean,
was,
it benefits everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, like Grace, she put in there talking about there was like a miscommunication between her and the client about a wedding, and it was honestly no one's fault.
Right,
like
right.
when you deep dived into it, it was just like,
Right.
it's just one of those things that
I don't
happen.
think I saw that.
And I actually had the day open, and
Oh,
we
yeah.
booked it and stuff, and no harm done. The couple was so sweet. They
Right.
they wasn't mad at her. It was like almost the nicest scenario possible that
Right.
could happen.
Yeah.
And it was because of that group as well. So
Yeah. I mean,
um,
I've seen it benefit so many of us already, and
Yeah.
it's still very new and very young. I
Yeah.
mean, nobody's there to try to steal your clients, and I can assure
if they are there,
you, if they are, and if we
Yeah.
find out about it, they're not going to stay in that group because
Yeah.
that's not the type of environment that I'm trying to foster.
Yeah.
I'm trying to foster an environment where we help each other and we learn from each other and we have friends. I mean,
Yep.
this is a very lonely job
Yeah.
if you're doing it by yourself. Being an entrepreneur and owning your own business can be so isolating. So to me, that's a huge part of it too. I mean, I want to be able to benefit each other's businesses, but I also think just personally, you can't survive and thrive and go on in isolation forever. You have to
Right.
have people around you. And I mean, yeah, I have friends, but they don't understand what I'm doing.
Well,
Like, they don't get it.
Like my
So,
wife
yeah.
she's my go-to for
Yeah.
everything, but she doesn't understand the difference between like a Sony or a Nikon or Canon or anything like that. And
Yeah.
that's just her. But she'll tell you right there. She's like, that person looks kind of weird, or you know, like their clothing looks weird.
Yeah.
or something
So like
that.
I've started training
But-
my husband. So I mean, he gets it
Yeah.
a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he does, and he has been very supportive. He's researched cameras for me.
Yeah.
We just started offering video as well, and he researched all of the
Yeah.
equipment for that, and I just let him handle it. But still, like, the nitty gritty of it and like the little things of dealing with clients
Yeah.
and like what people really want and expect from you on a wedding day, he doesn't quite understand that yet because he hasn't experienced it as much. And I mean, bless my friends, I
Yeah.
love them, but they're working their 9-to-5 jobs or whatever, and they have no idea what it's
Yeah.
like to be.
Well, I told I was telling my parents about in the first month. I think I figured out more about taxes, accounting,
Yeah.
paperwork, contracts.
Oh my gosh,
I thought
yeah.
I had a good
So
hold of
much.
things as a side hustle.
Yeah.
And then when you look at it as, okay, this is the main income, this is this is how you're doing this. Like
Yeah.
now I have like a full-time accountant that
Mm-hmm.
she's been amazing about the fact that she understands that I don't know I have a clue what I'm talking about, and
Yeah.
she tries to like work through it and stuff.
Yeah.
And she understands also that it's like, yeah, I'm not a millionaire, but I'm still a small business. I'm just me and stuff, and she works with me a lot on that. And I think when people, I mean, I made a post on my birthday. My birthday was last Tuesday.
Happy birthday.
And thank you. I made a post about it because I was just kind of being blunt and honest. I was just like, you know, I turned 31. Like, it's awesome. You can tell me happy birthday, or you can go subscribe to my YouTube
yeah,
channel
yeah.
and comment, because you don't understand how much more that's going to be helpful for me. And I will say, whoever's watching this stuff, I know I saw who like subscribed. I saw who commented, and thank you very much. The other like 120 of you guys, you didn't even read the first sentence, you know. So
Happy birthday!
I appreciate it regardless.
Yeah.
But if you like, there's this whole mentality, and our society is like wrapped around of like, we are there for congratulations, but we're not there for support. And I'm just like, both things are absolutely free. Don't try to don't try to think that you're in that crowd when you wasn't through the work and the trenches and that part and stuff. And the older I get, the more I'm just like, I don't care. If that's how you want to support me, then you need to go like it. Or overall, book me. Yeah. Just book me. Yeah. You have no idea. Like, I just shot at my wife's cousins, and we stayed the night there, and they never had family photos, and they had this giant dog, and he's like a collie true retriever mutt mix, but he's massive, and he's just like fun. And 90-degree weather, you could just imagine this big dog, and they was just so worried. They didn't think they was photogenic. And I actually shot their wedding back a couple years ago, and I told them, I was like, no, you guys are fine. It's just me. I'm just going to go into like professional director mode in like 20 minutes. But we're going to get some good stuff. And then I showed them the photos when we was afterwards, and they was just like, oh my God, like they're so good and stuff. And
that's the best feeling ever.
It wasn't something that was a magnificent photo in regards, but they're seeing themselves completely different. And I told them, I was like, just thank you for just thinking of me, and, you know, of this, because I mean, it's just those little things. It really, especially when you're full time, you know, liking our post, sharing our post, if it's free,
it makes a huge
just
difference.
do it. You know, in my opinion, like, it's no one, like, your 40 Facebook friends is not going to get upset if you share my post. You know, they're probably going to like it, you know. Like,
well, and to me, like, the people who I see the people who share my business posts every time. And I know who they are, and I know they've got my back. And that doesn't mean my other friends don't, but, like, that little extra bit of support that takes a second, that means the world to us. It helps us reach new people and helps us do what we do. And I think a lot of it, social media is demonized a lot because it can be so vain. So I think a lot of the times when people see us asking, hey, please go like and share my post, they're like, oh, you just want attention? No, like, this is how we make our money. Like, this is how we have this business. I think if people really realize just how important it is to be able to do what we do, they probably wouldn't hold back as much about it. But I just think a lot of people don't realize.
And it's not their fault that they don't realize either. I will say that it is. Everyone has a different interpretation of art, and the way that we have been, I think, fine-tuned in our life, if we see something we know is going to be an amazing photograph or video or something like that, we're just like, we're hyper-focused of wanting to share that with everybody else. We don't want to, like, we want to, like, see what we see. And but yeah, I was explaining, my mom was asking me the other day. She asked me every single day, actually. She's like, what are you doing today? And I was like,
it's my mom too.
I was like, I'm doing a shoot. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. And I told her the other day, I said, it was actually going to be today. I had a massive day, but I had to switch the things. But I was like, I'm shooting 2 podcasts. I'm going to be shooting a couple of videos for this custom GTR layer tonight at Canal State Forest. I'm doing this. She's like, oh, sounds like fun. I was like, Mom, this is my job now. Like, this is content. Like, this is things that's going to be putting me in front of different eyes, different bookings, different things like that, and different networking. And I know it's not her fault, but, like, she 100% doesn't understand that mentality of it. So I'm just like, I was like, Mom, no, it's like, I'm not just doing what I want. Like, I'm shooting because, like, I don't want to spend, like, a day absolutely not picking up my camera or editing a photo. Like, that's my mentality. It's like, I don't want to, and I also don't want to get burnt out on it either.
Yeah. Gotta find balance.
Yes. Yeah. So, like, even when I was, like, on my vacations, I was still wanting to shoot content, because me shooting a different type of content, I feel like can be a vacation from your regular content, if that makes any sense, you know? So it's just like, always trying to figure it out. But, like, I'll see things, and I think it happens when I drive or I'm, like, listening to music or something like that. I see these different types of, like, visions in my head. I'm just like, oh no, like, dude, that'd be so cool to shoot this. It'd be so cool to shoot that, you know.
Too.
But, like, I was literally, we was driving home the other day, and I played a whole entire movie, like a Pixar movie and stuff in my head. And I told my wife about it. I said, here's a whole theory about it and stuff. And she was like looking at me, and she's like, you just now like thought of that? And I was like, I was just like deep. It was just like do in my head. And what it was, I don't know if it sounds corny saying that out loud or not, but like it was the story of an oak tree that realizes like everything around him and stuff is like changing, and comic sidekick is like this older oak tree that's like this, like back when I was a sapling, he's always in the background talking.
Right.
But the fact that they don't move, but this oak tree wants to see adventure everywhere he goes and stuff. But it's just because like,
I think that's a cool idea. Maybe
it's just like,
you have a different career path you need to be looking into.
But we was talking about, I was like, at the end of it, he can meet like, throughout the whole movie, he can meet this like little kid or something that, and he doesn't realize the little kid has an ability to speak to a tree, and then they become friends. Well, then a bulldozer or something tries to take it away.
Right.
The end of the movie could literally be about like a whole housing structure is now built around this oak tree that still lived there for like hundreds of years or something like that.
Okay,
it could just
listen, I'm going to be watching Pixar.
It could
Give
be a vibe.
3 years.
Oh,
You're going to be having to sue for rights, I bet.
I know. I saw it, and my wife was saying, I was like, I don't know what a good name would be, and she was like, you should call it Seasons, and I was like, that's
good.
a good one too.
Good.
And we was just like, but that was like the creative process of it.
Yeah.
We're driving down the road, and I'm thinking of this, and I'm just like, yeah, this is who would do this. Be like, and then we started going into it, and she's really awesome about like playing off of me with like we'll like talk and be like, okay, who do you think would be like the character for who's the voice or something. And like I've even thought about in my head, I have like a whole series about like because like I love Reba, like who doesn't love Reba, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like Fancy, like I feel like would be amazing if HBO did like a 6 episode series about just Fancy, and it could be set in New Orleans, like at the turn of the century, would be like, it could be like freaking so good, you know what I mean?
Listen, I don't quite see it in movies, but I have a secret dream of being an author. So I'm always like in my head like, oh my gosh, that would be such a cool basis for a book.
See, and that's the thing. We're like opposite, I think, on that mindset, because I see a visual. I never know how to put it into words. I'll sit there and I'll be like, okay, I know what the song, I know what I know what it's going to look like, how it's going to be lit, but I have no idea.
But if you had to like write the script.
It'd be like, hello.
I am the oak tree.
Yeah. I was like, what?
Right.
This is, or it would just be like super cringy and just be like bad. So like props to people that can actually like, do that with like their actual words and describe it. But like, I feel like on the visual part of it, I could be like 100%. I could explain it and stuff.
Yeah.
But that's what's so cool about the process of like anything we do, we shoot. You have these different types of, strengths and weaknesses but when it works and it's all collaborates together, you can make some of the best work ever and stuff. And that's why I love to kind of like go back into like wedding photography and things like that. I love having a second shooter on the day of, because then I can bounce an idea off somebody, or a lot of people it's like, okay, well they are there to cover like different things, but at the same time, for me personally, I just want to have validation to like, hey, is this a good shot, or what do you think about that, or do you think this would be crazy if I did this, or what if you went over there and I got this one, that way they both have this, and
that's why I really love second shooting. I mean, even though it's not what I usually do anymore, I think it's so fun when I get to second shoot, because I get to like have a little bit of the pressure taken off of me and just be creative and get what I need to get to help out. But then like if my main is shooting from here, I can be like, oh my gosh, what if I like went up on that rock and shot closer? Like, I mean, I get to think outside of the box and do things that if you're in a typical wedding day as the lead shooter, you don't have that freedom and time to do, because you have to make sure you get the safe shots first. And you'll find this out too on video. Is completely it's going to be I feel like I have a good rhythm about it now, because I know what shots I need. I will say, when I first started, I would have like 40 minutes of just makeup, and then I realized I don't need 40 minutes of makeup. Like
So now I look at certain shots. I know if I have it, I'm good, and I move on. Photo's different. Photo, I like to still be trigger happy on things.
Yeah.
But video, like I'm sure like you've already kind of like seen it. It's like
Yeah.
when you import all your
It's a
video,
lot.
you have almost like 2 hours, and you're just like, how am I going to get this down to like 6 minutes?
Yeah.
You know, and for it to flow correctly too. I don't know if clients are upset with the way I do. I hope not. I try to explain it to them the best way. For me, I shoot more of just a cinematic highlight video. I don't dabble into the audio. I don't dabble into like speeches or anything like that. I show clips of it, but it's very, very short. Now, if they want something like that, it's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to have to be like an add-on, or I typically still shoot everything, but I never include it in the final product. If they want it, they can just have it.
Yeah,
And just know it.
yeah.
But I just, I think as me being a guy, I just don't. I think Val should be a thing that is more personal and not like be shown to an audience in a
Right.
sense.
Yeah. Well, see, I'm
That's
very
just me.
sentimental. So, like, our wedding video, I didn't necessarily want it to be shown off, but I wanted the speeches so that I could go back and
Right.
listen to them again. But for me, as the videographer, I don't love doing all that.
Yeah.
My husband doesn't mind. So we set it up to have 3 different packages. And the first one is just like a highlight film. The second one is a short. It's got a highlight film and then like a short feature film with small clips of audio, but no full audio. And then our most expensive package has a highlight film and then like a 1-minute social media teaser and a full cinematic film with full speeches and full ceremony and such, which, like I said, I don't like doing all that, but if my husband's coming along and being the one to do it, whatever, you go for it. He loves doing all that audio stuff. He's a musician, so he has a lot of fun with that.
Well, that's good too, to have like a person with like an ear for it too.
Oh yeah.
I know whenever I started, it's still a weakness of mine because I just don't know what I'm doing half the time. But for the video part of it, that's where I was just like, okay, I know I need to get this shot and stuff, and I move from there. But yeah, it's there's a couple of videographers that's just in our state that's just they're killing it. Like I think Austin, which is part of Heather's team, is I don't know if I've talked to him just a little bit. I don't know if he really knows how talented he is.
Yeah, his videos are incredible.
Yeah.
I wish I had known about him when I got married because I was not happy
I
with my videographer.
I want to watch just stuff that he does. Like I just want to like consume his content because the way he puts it and presents it is just like
they're great. I mean, they're so cinematic, and I mean,
and that's a great person to have on that team and stuff too. It's just on Heather's team.
And it's so easy to like make a video that just feels like clips, but his don't just feel like clips. They're cohesive and they tell a story, and at the same time, they're beautiful. I mean, he's got an amazing eye for it, for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about you recently just got a teaching job, correct, and stuff, and this is the first time you've ever been a teacher in that aspect of it?
At this level, teaching photography, I've taught elementary school art for the last 2 years, which is fun but draining. It is fun. I mean, you're never gonna get love like a kindergartner who is so excited to come to your class. But being that photography is my passion, when I was presented with the opportunity to teach photography, especially at the high school level, which is when I really started honing in my love for photography, I think it's going to be really special.
It's going to just reflect on it and stuff too. I think you was talking about earlier, and I wanted to ask you too, do you think the fact that is when you got interested in photography, that is just the reason why you just want to you really want to teach at that same type of age?
There are a few reasons. I mean, for one, like I said, elementary schoolers are just exhausting. I have a 2-year-old, so when I would teach elementary school all day, I would feel like my little kid social media was meteor. Oh my gosh. My gosh, I can't even talk.
I definitely know what you're talking. Yeah.
It's like the heat's getting to my head.
Yeah.
My social meter is draining, and then I come home and I don't have anything left to give my own daughter. So of course, all teaching is going to be exhausting. That's the nature of it. But for me, being around older kids who I can not feel like I have to perform for, but can just talk to like human beings, I feel like it's draining a different social media. Oh my gosh, I said it again. See, I'm going to say that every time now.
Yeah.
Different social meter than the little kids.
Yeah.
So I'm going to like deal with them, but then come home and be able to have energy left for my own child. So that is a big aspect of it. But then also just, I mean, who doesn't want the opportunity to tell other people about what they love and get to share your passion? I mean, and get paid for it.
Right.
I mean, I think it's really exciting. And the kids who are going to be in my classes, they have to sign up for it. So they want to come and learn about photography. And I think getting to push them out of their comfort zones for what they think of photography as with their phones, I think it'll be really fun introducing them to actual DSLRs and just opening up like a whole new world that I didn't get in high school. I didn't get until college. And getting to expose them to that younger and potentially shape their future, I think is just really exciting.
No, I think that's awesome. I always have crazy respect for teachers anyway. I actually have an episode on my YouTube channel about it was kind of like more of a personal podcast vlog. I don't even know where I was going with it. I've only made one episode, so apparently it wasn't going very far. But in that episode, I talked about where that creative spark happened for me, and it was two women, and it's kind of crazy too because one was a science teacher and the other one was a math teacher. It wasn't even creative arts. But what they taught me and what they kind of like instilled in me is lessons that I'll never forget to this day, and I'm still putting out there. And my mom had it was an orange digital camera from like Walmart, just like, I don't even know, just absolutely terrible. And it was a graduation, and I hugged one, and the other, I was hugging Mrs. Yoke, and and then Miss Jones was right beside, and it was blurry. And at the time, I was so mad about the fact that it was blurry and it wasn't a good picture. But I look back at it, and it is like to me now, what I've learned, and just like how I even just get emotional just thinking about it, because it's such a cool and raw moment of my life, knowing that those two women was like great mentors, and they told me, I mean, I was, to kind of like simply put it, in high school, I was a little shithead, and I just talked, and I would get in trouble, but it wasn't like fighting or anything like that. It was just like, I was just a menace. And these two women always, it was like, no, you're going to college, you're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing this. And Mrs. Yoke, in her class, it was science class, and she said there's 3 different ways that you could present. You could do an oral, like basic like presentation. You could do a writing one, or you could do a visual aid, and which was like you could like film yourself and then you could do it. Well, we took that to heart, and myself and 2 other classmates, we did a whole skit, and we made this mini movie pretty much, and we was addicted after that. We had these little flip cameras. We was editing on Movie Maker. The next year, they started a film class for us because of that.
Nice.
And we recruited like 8 other kids, and we created this film class. We was able to get different quality. We still didn't have good quality stuff, but it was better. And she kept on fueling that, and she was the teacher for that. And I was just like, then I took that, and then I went to college and didn't do anything. I was a studio art major, but I didn't do anything for like 2 or 3 years. And then I started taking photos because I was on the Student Government Association, and we needed some really good photos of like our events to get people involved. And I was like, ooh, I don't know, but I would love to use a camera. And then I turned out I was better at that than I was my studio art. And then it just started, and I started looking at careers, and I started looking into that. And then somebody gifted me my own camera when in college. To this day, I still don't know who that was, and it was just in my P.O. box. And I have a good hunch of who I think it was, but I still don't know. But if that is the case, they have obviously changed my life, and
that's wild.
But that's the spark, it all started way back then. So it's like, imagine you're just going to be part of that.
It's really exciting. It's also kind of terrifying that, I mean, as a teacher, you can have an incredible impact on your students, but you can also, like, if you mess up, I would hate to ever be that teacher that broke a student's heart or made them feel unsupported, because that's how I felt a lot of high school. I just I was very depressed, and it was the early 2010s. It wasn't understood as much, so it's not necessarily to any of my teachers' fault. You don't know what's going on in your student's head.
Right.
But I definitely had a rough high school experience, and for that reason, I've never really wanted to be a teacher in the traditional sense, but, here I am. But I've always wanted to have the opportunity to make an impact of kids around that same age, where I was really struggling. So I always thought if I were going to be a teacher, I would want to teach high school, because they really need somebody who's just there for them. And a place to express themselves. And art is, in my opinion, the best way to do that. Art and music. And honestly, just in West Virginia, it's always put to the curb anyway. So like, if you have any point of that conversation, it's going to be it's going to be helpful and stuff. No, I think you're going to kill it. You're already killing your work and stuff. You're doing great, and you have a great mindset of like bringing people together. And I'm trying.
I
really feel like we need more of a solid community in the area. I look at photographers and vendors that I know in other areas and see they're so close. Like, they go and have lunch together, and
I put in the group last night. I was like, anybody want to? Or I think that was this morning actually. I was just like, if anybody wants to just hang out and talk. I feel like, this is just my personal thought on it. I feel like just because I am a guy and stuff too, it's so hard for me to have conversations and stuff too. But I just try to like make things light and just have fun with people. And once you get to know me and you shoot with me, or if you just like hang out with me, you just realize, like, he's not that bad. He's just like, I'm an honest person.
You're
like,
hilarious. You're always cracking us up in the group chat.
I think Stacy says something about like, they were talking about like their Halloween sessions and stuff, and she's like, I have a coffin and stuff, and he was like, oh my God, you have like a coffin? I was like, yeah, that's the people that doesn't pay the deposits and stuff. But it's like, I don't care with it. I feel that today I'm more confident like in my work compared to I was like a few years ago. I think it's just that, not in like a cocky or like an arrogant way. It's more of just I know what I'm capable of. I know the people that books with me. I know what I want to do in the future, and that shouldn't affect on how I like other people. Like if they want to view me in a certain way, I'm just like, that's fine. That's their right to. But it's like, I feel like I have a good hold on like who I am and stuff as an artist.
That's important.
Yeah, I say that today, but tomorrow I'll probably like freak out about something. So
like I'll switch back and forth. One day I'm like, I know I'm a good photographer. I know my shit. Like, can I say that on here?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. But then the next day I'll be like, this picture sucks.
Yeah.
Like, who let me post that? That's terrible. But I think that's just the life of an artist.
And that happens like within like 6 months. I look back and I was like, what was I thinking, or something like that, or why is that edit like that, or I was like, I probably did not need to go that orange on it, or or like stupid stuff like that.
And that's what, like, I had a bride ask me yesterday to look at a full gallery, and of course I don't have any problem sending full galleries out, but then I look at them and I'm like, could have done this better though. And what if they look at that one picture and they're like, because of that one picture they don't want to book me because I could have edited that better or shot that better. And I just it's easy to snowball that way, but
it really is. What has helped me is I've seen a lot of like YouTubers talk about it, of the fact that you can't you can look at your analytics, you can look and you can like critique yourself, but don't obsess over yourself, because it's all about pushing it out and getting more people. One creator, he wasn't even monetized. He has 3 million subscribers now. He wasn't even monetized until after his like 2000th video. And I was sitting here at like 130 videos on my YouTube channel, freaking out that I wasn't monetized yet.
Right.
And I was like, oh. So whenever he explained that, and now he's one of the biggest like reactors on YouTube, and he's hilarious. And each video gets like a couple million. But he's like, no, I put out 2,000 all long form videos.
Right.
2,000 before he even got monetized.
Imagine the amount of work that went into that. But
so
he
that
stayed consistent and dedicated.
Yeah. And then that told me, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And that was a huge light bulb moment of knowing, okay, this is what I need to do. I will be successful at some point in my life. And I know that.
You are successful.
Well, I mean, I'm talking about like in my mind
I got you.
Like,
but you are. I mean, look at look at where you were 6 months ago.
Yeah.
I mean, and it can be hard to like sit back and have that perspective sometimes when you're not where you want to be. Something that's also helped me a lot is just trying not to consume too much content in my area, because when I spend too much time looking at these photographers who I look up to, who are making the kind of work I say I want to be making, it feels real. It's just so much easier to doubt yourself and to forget what you're doing and the great things that you've achieved. So limiting the amount of time that I spend looking at that does help a lot. Not that I don't look to them to draw inspiration, but I think it's also important to look at other types of creators, and even like outside of the wedding industry. I take a lot of inspiration from contemporary fine art and just the world around me, and like content that is not wedding related, like movies. I mean, if you think of a movie that you love that's just like beautiful, look at that and like pause it, look at the stills and look at the lighting and the way it's staged, and take inspiration from that. I mean, you don't have to stay just within your niche. And if you do stay too much just within your niche for inspiration, that's a really easy way to get burnout and feel down on yourself.
I exactly know where you're talking with that, because like my wife my wife is really good at like knowing lyrics and knowing songs, and like her music like library is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not. I always get the lyrics wrong, blah, blah, blah. But when it comes to movies, I'm just like, I know where that actor played in. I know what they did.
How my husband is.
You know,
can't do that.
And I love it. So like, I love that. So like, one of my favorite movies is actually Armageddon. And she hates it every single time it comes on. I'm just like, no, we were watching all the way through. But the reason why I like it, in my mindset, it has amazing cast. It is shot beautifully. It has a great soundtrack. It is over 2 hours long, so you get your money's worth. Everyone's a hero, so the villain is like an asteroid.
Okay.
So it's not this like a bad person. Everyone has to unite.
Right.
So like the story is good. The writing, and my wife's like, this is the cheesiest thing. And I'm just like, this is America, you know, like this is like we're fighting. Like the two shuttles was literally named Freedom and Independence. I was like, I love this right now and stuff. But like when you're like dissect it too, I think a really cool part of it is like it's a nostalgia like movie for me, like growing up. You know, like I had it on VHS and but it was like, I think at the time that movie and Titanic used to be on two. It was so long. It used to be on two VHSs.
Two tapes. Yeah.
That and Armageddon was the two longest movies we owned, and when we put it on, it was like it was like a movie
it's an
night.
Event. Yeah.
And
now you don't do that as much, but like if you do and you take the time to do that and like give it, not be scrolling on your phone, but really pay attention. I mean, like some movies that I think are just gorgeous are. Okay, I'm a huge Hunger Games nerd. Yeah. I love the Hunger Games movies, and I think they're all beautiful, but the newest one, The Battle of Songbirds and Snakes, I mean, the cinematography is insane. I mean, it's all like golden, and like it's stunning.
Yeah.
And I look at that and I'll like pause it where like snow is looking over the Capitol,
Yeah.
and I mean, it's like I want to take pictures
Yeah.
that feel like that.
Yeah.
Or like when Lucy Gray is sitting in the field playing her guitar, and it's just like this beautiful, like she's in the shade, but you've got this gorgeous golden light. And I mean, when you look outside of the box you've put yourself into, you can do so much cooler stuff. Like you don't have to do what everybody else is doing.
Yeah. What I know for like Armageddon too is Michael Bay film, and Michael Bay loves to do these like lens flare, and then he does these like real dramatic like circles that's underneath and stuff like that. But if you look onto all the major transition of the scenes are all shot in sunset, and they have a golden hour at the very beginning, and his goodbye, like they're all sunsets, and they're all this golden, like it's an emotional thing. There's not like a rainy day, like there's not being like he's doing that because that's his lighting, that's his style, like. And I think for me, like I love golden hour, so I'm just like I'm just like I'm just like drawn to it, and but yeah, I love that movie. I just love practical effects in movies. Yeah. I love just seeing things. I love bloopers too. I love finding mistakes because it makes me like I know I'm paying attention to it, and little things like that. And I was like, that's even things that you could teach your kids and stuff too. Is like, okay, like you're watching this scene, what is right, what's wrong? Like do you see a wardrobe malfunction? Do you see this? Do you see that? Yeah. And, they used to do it. So back in the day when they shot like old Westerns and stuff, a lot of those night scenes wasn't even shot at night. They were shot at midday, and they had a very blue, it wasn't an ND filter, but it was like an actual filter. And you've seen these harsh light and stuff, and you're seeing all this, but it's just like that little moment. You have to think that they didn't have a lighting set up. They only could shoot at probably midday, and it's just that part just like it blows your mind and stuff.
For sure. Actually, the thing that really opened my mind up to that was when I was in college. One of my professors told us, if you really want to draw inspiration, think of the movies that you love, that you're drawn to, and watch them without sound. So you're just focusing on the picture. And I think like a great one to go to, especially if you're like a wedding or event photographer, that I think the cinematography could be really helpful, is The Great Gatsby, the newest one. Yeah. I mean, some of the shots are insane and they're stunning. And I think, it's got enough overlap with weddings that if you watch that and like really look at the type of shots, if you want that cinematic documentary type of feel, I mean, it's going to blow your mind looking at it like that.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I only took one film class in college, and it was like, I thought it was going to be an easy A, and it turned out to be one of the hardest classes. But each week we would watch like a really
I took a class like that too.
Movie,
watch a
and
classic
then
movie
we'd have a
and
discussion.
Write a report.
And it was really cool because I watched movies in there that I never would have watched, and I watched Schindler's List and Citizen Kane and Some Like It Hot, we watched what was some of the. Those are the ones I remember the most because I was like, I'm never sitting down and watching Schindler's List by myself. Like, what's going on? But then we talk about it, and it was like, wow, like this is really interesting and stuff too. Yeah. It's really neat to know as an artist, like, are we ever going to be put in front of like, a class like that, you know, and then in the future and be like, oh, they look at it and be like, yes, this was Murphy photography and film's golden period of, this. And it's just like me just out there shooting in the sun and people don't even know. But it's like, I think that study and that critique is like really cool and stuff. It's all about the process for me. I love the process. I love it more than sometimes just the finished piece. I just want to know that like if I'm going through like a problem and I solve it and it is like a better outcome, like really quick, whether it's light or, if someone's wearing an outfit and but they put something else on, like an accessory or something. You're like, oh, it clicked. And then like that little piece of joy right there, I'm just like, is
like that
valuable,
moment when you're like posing a couple and you're like, something doesn't look quite right, and you have them adjust like the tiniest little bit, and it's like, yes, that is stunning.
So and
like, I love those moments.
I don't know about you, but I am loud when I see that. I'm like, yes. And I'm just like, I go right into it.
I think I drive them crazy because I'm like, yes, so pretty. Oh my gosh. But like, it's genuine. I'm not like just hyping you up. I'm like, excited.
I tell them to be happy, happy, happy. Because I'm like, if I'm in the same room as you, just be happy. Because I want to, if it feels awkward, it looks great on camera, you know, all these different things is going to come into one. But like, I'm looking for that one certain frame in between all the posing, all this. And if it hits, it hits. And then when it does, you're just like, it's so good. And then I get excited. I'm just like, I can't wait to go home because I want to edit and I want to do this and stuff.
And I've been thinking about that a lot with like curating my galleries lately too. We don't need 20 pictures of similar poses. And I've seen some photographers lately who I'm very inspired by, but taking it to the extreme where they'll shoot a wedding day that's so highly curated, they only want the best of the best moments, that they're delivering an 8-hour wedding in 300 to 400 shots, which, okay, if that's what works for you and your couples, yes. But I feel like I need to fall somewhere in the middle, or I'm trying not to overshoot as much and be more intentional, and curate. Like I'm a people pleaser. So I look at my shots and I'm like, oh, well, in this one, her head's like this. And in this one, it's like this. So how do I know which one she's going to like better? So I just need to deliver both, even though they're basically the same picture.
Exactly.
And I'm trying to stop doing that so much, because ultimately it's not going to make that big of a difference. And I'm trying to go with my gut, the one that I'm like, there's just something about that picture. And I'm trying to just deliver that one instead of the other 3 or 4 that are almost the same, to really be more curated and intentional in my galleries to tell the story, but not overtell the story, which is hard to do, especially as a recovering overshooter.
That should be a t-shirt right there.
Yeah.
That's
recovering overshooter. We're gonna have to make that.
Now I know exactly what you mean, because I've just recently I'm starting to train myself with family shots like that. I used to take so many posed family shots.
I do that with weddings. Family
and
shots,
now I'm just like, no, they get one, all eyes open. That's what they get. And I'm trying to tell myself, I was like, they don't need 20 of the same one.
The exact same arrangement. That's
going to be exhausting.
I'm like, I want to take 20 just in case this person closes their eyes. But then I go to edit them and there are 10 where everybody's eyes are open. So I'm like, which one do I deliver out of those 10? Like, stop.
I've been training myself 1, 2, 3, shoot. 1, 2, 3,
that's
shoot,
what I've
1, 2,
been
3,
doing,
shoot.
especially with like individual.
They're done and stuff. And then that way I'm looking at 3 in the same shot. And then I look at it and it's like, okay, if one person had their eyes closed, 3 shots, then he's either asleep or dead. Like, your
eyes are just gonna have to stay closed, buddy. I'm sorry.
Like, I can Photoshop some, but
not if they're all 3.
But
I'm not that good. I could give you somebody else's eyes, I guess.
But I think that's one. Detail shots, I've been doing that too, trying to get the best of the best on that, which I love detail shots.
Me too.
So Maddie, do you have like any advice that you would give like pretty much like any new creator or like new photographers, or you want to shout anybody out that you want to at this point?
So for new photographers, I definitely recommend just shooting as much as you can. You don't know what you're gonna like when you start. I never expected to love shooting weddings. So I think just do the free shoots. People always crap on free shoots, but do them so you can try things and really figure out what you love. And shoot with more experienced photographers so you can learn from them and see their workflows. And then when you're coming to like what you should invest in for your business, of course, it's important to have a professional camera. Get the camera with 2 card slots and I think your glass is more important. I think you should invest in a better lens before investing in the best camera body. But I also think above everything else, investing in your education is invaluable.
Right.
I mean, there's just, of course, there's a lot of free education out there that you can access, and that's amazing. But when you really invest and get to dive deep with a business coach or a photography coach, just depending on what your needs are at the time, I mean, you will take away things that will stick with you forever and completely transform your business. I mean, every time I have actually taken the time to invest in my business and a course or a workshop, I have seen the return, and then a lot. I mean, and I did workshops back in 2019 with one of the top film photographers in the world, and every time I'm shooting, I still think back to the things that I learned from her.
Right.
And when I'm posting, I think about the things that she said about curating my portfolio. So as long as you're cautious and making sure you fully vet what you're investing in, you will never regret investing money into your education, because it can only take you further. And oh my gosh, we have so many incredible creators in the state that are just don't get nearly as enough recognition as they deserve. It's hard to choose a couple. One who I see, I know we've had a lot of the ones down here get shouted out a lot, like Stacy and Heather. Like, they're killing it. They deserve it. But some that I see that aren't as known, I think, in this area are like Chelsea Roca in Morgantown.
Okay.
She is killing it. I mean,
I don't know if I follow her. So
she's amazing. She's more of like very vibrant, bright, airy kind of style, so a little different than most of the photographers down here. I think that's why I know like so many more in that area, is because we shoot more stylistically similar. But she is a glowing example of just because you live in a small town doesn't mean you can't kill it.
Right.
Because she's charging her worth and booking beautiful weddings, and she just bought a photo booth and opened a photo booth company to go alongside it. And I mean, she's doing amazing. Same with like Caitlin Workman.
I know.
She's in Southern West Virginia. And she's had several reels up in the millions. She's got a mastermind that she just completed. She's got a create retreat that she's about to do like the 3rd or 4th year of, that I'm gonna go to next year.
Oh, that's so cool. That's like another thing like I want to do. I want to do. I have a good idea of one in Huntington with location, and then I want to do a cabin location too.
Yeah.
And I just want like 3 or 4 like solid models, and but I also want them to like shoot things that's like on my style too. So I don't know how to like put it. It'd be a very like designed type of.
Listen, let's talk about that. I've got some locations that might be good for you.
Oh, okay.
I mean, she's doing amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, again, small town. She lives in like Bluefield, which, I mean, it's decent. She's got great access to Virginia, but I mean, she's doing amazing. She's going to international retreats and speaking.
Right.
There's so many incredible photographers around here that just don't get the recognition they deserve. I feel like,
and that's why I'm trying, like with this, I really am trying, but I only know the people that I know where I follow. So that's why, like, when I ask people on this, it's like a two-way thing. It's one, yes, they're getting more love, but it's like me, I'm getting to be like, oh, I don't know who that person is, and they're in West Virginia, like, let me follow them as well, because I want to expand my knowledge of the people around here too. And it's amazing. I think that, you know, West Virginia as a whole, I talk about it with like Colt on a couple episodes, and I just talked to him one-on-one anyway, but it's like Appalachia and West Virginia, and then telling that story. There's so many people that's like photographers in that area that does that, but they don't like do weddings, or they don't do like portraits. They do a very certain type of photography, but it's amazing and stuff. So
Another great one is Zoe Evans. She's in Thomas, West Virginia.
Yes. Yeah.
And she does weddings, but then she's also got Zoe Evans Branding.
Yes.
And I mean, her branding work is incredible.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to get branding done with her soon because
sweet.
I mean, and she has a business degree, so she's able to really help you like narrow down what you need to propel your business forward. And again, Thomas is like the tiniest of tiny towns.
Yeah, it's like a street.
And, yeah, literally. Which I mean, it's a very like welcoming, artsy town. I love it, but it's tiny.
Yeah.
And she's out here doing amazing things.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of. I mean, there's so many. I have a list back home of people I just want to. They're like my top ones that I just want to have a conversation with.
Yeah.
For the podcast and everything, and there's a couple of them that's already told me no because it's nothing against it, but they just don't feel like it would be, and I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But like I've been trying to get Stacy on there forever and stuff, but Stacy did shoot with me like earlier this week, so like she even told me.
She's so busy.
Yeah, she even told me, she was like, she's like, this is like the first step, and she said maybe again. I was like, you don't realize how many people love your work, like you need. And stuff, but
is she just like, does she think she's not good enough to come on here?
Yeah, and I've told her.
We're gonna have to have a conversation with her because I mean look at your podcast episodes, how many people have shouted her out.
Yeah.
Because she is so fearlessly herself, and I honestly envy how much she just makes the work she wants to make.
Mm-hmm.
And when she gets an idea, she does it. She doesn't stop and linger on the idea and then let it fall off. Right. She does it, whether she's like using herself or going and finding a model, like she does the damn thing.
Yeah.
And I love that, and I want to get back to doing more of that, especially with my fine arts background. Like I used to make my own fine art personal work, and that's what I dedicated all my time to, and I don't do that anymore, and I miss taking time to just create work that makes me happy.
Yeah.
And I think all of us should be doing that to avoid getting burnt out.
Well, I think that's like, for me, what I love is like, I love to do like portraits. Mm-hmm. That's right on the line of risque to like imply. Like I just like to, because in West Virginia, a little goes a long ways. I don't want to do like, absolute nude or like boudoir or anything like that. I want to do just like a simple like implied, where people's like, oh, that's interesting, that's different, that's not like a cookie cutter type of photo and stuff. And that's when my mindset and my like way of thinking, like that's where I thrive. So it's like, okay, I'm doing weddings, I'm doing this, that's the backbone of it, and now this is where I get to do a like YouTube video and make an edit on and stuff like that. And I mean, this was like portraits, when you have somebody that knows how to pose, that knows how to, that's why like Stacy, I told her, I was like, we have great lighting, you're gonna do all the poses anyway, like I already know what you're gonna do. I've seen you like. And she was like, yeah, let me just do this. And I was like,
and she's
click,
just comfortable
click,
because she does it all the time, and she knows what she's doing.
Yeah. And they're so good. We did 2 outfits. We did like this denim and then this white skirt, Western theme. And then we did these red boots, black jean shorts, and this like rock star like cut off, but it's gold. It's so good.
Nice.
Like she did this one that she was like bending over, like looking away, and it's perfect. It's exactly what I wanted for content. And the red boost gave it a different flair to it. And her posing was perfect. And we was in and out like probably like an hour. I was like, yeah, I got plenty. And she was like, you don't want to shoot, like you want to do this? I was like, I said, I'm good. Like we're good. But no, she's killing it. I mean, there's so many, like I said. And there's like people that like, I've had people that's like watched it and there's like, oh, are you gonna get like people that's like this or and I was like, well, I really want to focus just on photographers and videographers of West Virginia first, but I do want to expand it to like artists in general, like if they are like a musician or if they are like an author or something like that.
Hey, listen, I've got several connections if you get to that point. One girl, I got started in weddings by doing wedding makeup. I was a makeup artist, so that's how I really fell in love with weddings. I would do weddings at the Greenbrier. And one of the weddings I did was a girl who I went to high school with, and she works at Disney now. I mean, she worked on Frozen 2, and
that's crazy.
And she's from Winfield,
Yeah.
West Virginia.
Yeah.
And I have two of my best friends. They're musicians who live in Nashville now, recording and making music. They're actually my daughter's godparents, and I mean, they're from Scott Depot.
Yeah.
And I mean, you don't hear about these people. I don't know if you know Caden Tooley.
That sounds familiar, though.
He is let me check I'm gonna say it. Is it for King and Country? Is that the band? I don't want to tell you wrong. Let me make sure I'm not telling you wrong.
If it's music, I have no idea.
Okay, well,
to be honest, like I don't.
He's a videographer.
Oh, okay.
I went to school with him in Winfield, and he is now a touring photographer and videographer for a huge band and touring all over the country with them.
See, and that's like perfect.
Yeah.
Like, bring him on the podcast.
Yeah.
Like,
I'll give you his information.
Like, that's like, we've had a couple big people in my opinion and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We had Parker Shepard on a couple episodes ago, and I truly, I say this with all my heart, I think he is one of the best FPV drone pilots, like, ever.
Actually, I don't really know his work.
His stuff is he does a lot of like landscapes, but like he goes to like, I mean, he's been to like 15 different countries. He was just in Costa Rica this last weekend. He went to Croatia. He hopped off a plane from Croatia and was headed to Banff like 2 days after that.
That's awesome.
I was like, dude. He was like, yeah, I'm just living.
Killing
I was
it,
like,
yeah.
what the heck?
Yeah.
And he has like 400,000 followers on Instagram, and when he
Nice.
posts something, I mean, it looks like it's a movie, and an FPV drone. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but like
Somewhat, yeah.
it's not like your basic drone footage. It's very engaging, very like roller coasting,
Right.
if that makes sense. And he does it really well, and he explains it to his audience really well, and he color grades so well. And I just told him, I was like, dude, yeah, I know you're good, but you're good,
Right.
good and stuff. And I mean, he's done stuff with bigger like D1 schools.
Okay.
But he's from Morgantown.
Right,
and
right,
he
yeah.
talks about, he didn't even finish school. He just kind of like knew, and he was just like dove right into it, and then things started clicking for him and stuff. And now that's the main content that he does is all drone work pretty much.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we've had him on there. We've had Kevin Young. He's a policeman for 18 years.
He was actually the school cop at my high school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought his was really cool because he shoots completely different content.
Oh, yeah.
And he was talking about lighting and stuff like that. And
his off-camera flash.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's
and he thrives
wild.
in that. And
Yeah.
I was like, dude, you can have that.
Yeah.
Man. He was like,
Yeah.
I was like, I just want to take a backpack, and he's taking like a whole wagon
yeah.
full of stuff.
Yeah.
And but when he explains it, I saw the joy of
Right.
like, I was like, oh,
Right,
it
like
makes
that's
sense.
what he loves.
Yeah.
That's what he's passionate about.
Yeah.
And I mean, his work shows it. I mean, he's good at it.
Yeah. But we've had some really interesting people. We have a couple people lined up in this next. We have Ben Berry. He is owner of Mountain Craft
Right,
and
yeah,
stuff.
nice.
I've known him for a few years. He helped me out in a situation with one of my cameras that broke, and he kind of just hit me up randomly and was like, "Hey, I have an extra one. I'll give it to you like half off." And I was like,
That's awesome.
So we met at like a Starbucks, and we ended up talking for like 2 hours in that Starbucks, and we just clicked, and we've been friends ever since. So I was like, yeah, I definitely want him on it, and his outlook is going to be good because he's going to be talking more about like commercials and working with like businesses and branding and that type of thing. And I'm just excited to pick his brain. And but like I really want to focus on West Virginia. This is like my home, and this is where I want to like put that's the people on the platform and stuff. And to my knowledge, I don't think there has been anybody that's been doing this. So like that's why I was like, it's going to be new content, but I want it to be like, I have such a bigger vision, and Megan has been absolutely amazing as well.
Yeah.
I do want to go ahead and put this out there too. Put her little sponsored plug. This podcast is sponsored by Megan Nicole Photography. It is where we shoot this podcast, and we're in her studio. Her studio is, I will say right now, is 91 degrees, but
Boiling.
when you book it, it will be AC. Okay,
It is beautiful.
It is
also.
beautiful.
It's
You
stunning.
can-
I've never been in here before.
you can do so many different scenes and everything. And all of her information is going to be located in the description below and everything. But yeah, she's one that, like I've told her, I was like, I want to do a bigger vision with this. I would love to find a place where it's like a creator place where I don't know how to do, because here's the pros and cons of it. You have pros of creating all amazing content, but the cons of you have different opinions and different styles and different, when one person gets upset, then you got like legal stuff. And I want to find
a lot of logistics to go into that.
Yes. Yeah. I want to find people we can trust, people that we can be like, okay, this is how we can do this. And we can go from there. But
well, that's what I'd really love this group to grow into something more like that, with physical aspects where we can work together. And I mean, I have big dreams. Well, I mean, it'll take time, but
imagine if we had a studio where literally any photographer could use. I mean, we have to find like some type of, like revenue for it to keep the studio. But it's like, if we had a place that was a collective where
that could be like a workspace too, with like offices, and I mean, you could rent it on like a subscription basis,
or like
like open for 15 photographers, and once it's full until somebody leaves, or
you have it for a year or something like that, and you have like a
I think
lease
that
or
would
something.
be incredible.
But because I want to do more of a table type of set, I guess. Maybe table, maybe. I just want to change the whole podcast thing. I don't want it to always be this scene.
Right.
I want it to be different. But I'm doing this because Meg has been so helpful, and then my wife was like, well, you're not doing it in the living room at all, so you need to figure it out. And I was like,
for
okay.
sure. Hey, I mean, it works, so, I mean, and it's nice. I mean, but I'm sure it's better when the AC is working, but it's nice.
Usually it's super good. I mean, I've shot in here so many times, and the lighting's always good. I actually did my first shoot in here. I was showing Megan the photos, and the lights was off actually, and she was like, "You didn't turn the lights on?" I was like, "No." And she's like, "I've never done that, and these look amazing."
Oh yeah,
and I was like, "What do you mean?"
Like at Stacy's studio, I always shoot with the lights off.
And I was like, I think I was just like, I didn't even recognize it.
So
there was so much,
and I'd much rather have the window light.
And she was like, "I've never even thought of that." And I was like, "It's your studio. You haven't even
funny.
like shot."
Well, you should shout out or reach out to the girl I was telling you about who works at Disney. She's a filmmaker, and her college career was all in video and filmmaking, and she has a company. It's a nonprofit called Shine On WV, and it's actually,
what's her name?
Jillian Carney Howe. It focuses on West Virginia artists.
Oh, cool.
And they don't have like a podcast, but they do series on various artists and creatives in West Virginia.
I love that.
And I mean, she's out in California now working with Disney, but she comes back and she's actually she still makes short films for, puts them in, what's the word? Short film.
Yeah.
Festivals and such. She's making one on Thurmond, West Virginia now.
Cool. I feel like I've seen maybe her stuff like come across my
probably
recently or something.
Pretty well known. Both her and Caden are. I mean, I think they'd be incredible if you could get either of them to have a conversation with you.
And see, that's the thing with this. Some of my dreams is like I want to provide like a guest like bundle. They get like a T-shirt, they get like an SD card, these awesome little things, and I want to like present them more of the brand too. But I was going to start, and I was just going to do 10 episodes, and then I was like, nah, I'm going to do it till I can. Like I might do some solo episodes here and there, but they won't be like more than 30 minutes, and then go from there.
I love this though. I mean, I have so many thoughts in my head. I'd love to start a podcast, but I don't have the voice for it.
Well, somebody said the other day, I think it was Stacy or maybe Heather or somebody. They was like, "No, your voice is so soothing." And sounds like I was like, "What are you talking about?" I was like,
"I do not have a good recording voice. I sound annoying." So sorry if you're listening to this episode.
It might have been Josie that said, "No, I feel like I go to sleep listening to you." I was like, what?
That's funny. That's like Leonardo DiCaprio for me. I could go to sleep listening to his voice.
But But yeah, well, Maddie, it has been an absolute pleasure
Yeah, this has been
to
awesome.
to sit down and just chat. I think half of it feels like a fever dream because of the fact it's been so hot
Yeah,
in here.
a little bit.
But I really appreciate it. Like always, guys, all of her information is going to be located in the description below. Make sure you follow her, show her some love as well, and if make sure you guys are staying cool. That's the big thing right now. It's mid-July, and I don't know about you guys,
Feels every
but
bit of it.
here in West Virginia, we've been having 90s to triple digits almost every day. So everyone, stay cool, never stop creating, and we'll see you in the next one.